America has a love-hate relationship with the minivan. If you need one, you love it. But if you also need lots of space and don't care for the amenities, well, you can always get a large crossover. But crossovers are never quite as good at doing form and function like a minivan. This is the newest version of one of the most popular minivans available, the 2018 Honda Odyssey. The model we're driving today is the top trim level, the Elite, which means it has all the bells and whistles, from a vacuum in the back to an LTE hotspot. As a producer, I love vans. Why? Simple. You can fit a crew and all their gear into one van. You have no idea how valuable that is when you are in a moving production. And filming cars, yeah, you can shoot out the back, you can shoot out the side. The van is the linchpin of today's modern automotive journalism. So just how much does this new, improved Honda Odyssey offer? And should you ditch your crossover if you have a growing family? That's the $50,000 question. Yes, because this rig costs $47,610 as you see it here. Let's start with power. The Odyssey isn't a slouch. Honda has installed the latest version of its venerable 3.6-liter V6. They've put this engine into almost everything, from the Accord sedan to the Acura RDX, to this. In the iteration we have here, it adds direct injection and has more power, 280 horsepower to be exact, which is 32 more than last year's model. It's also connected to a new 10-speed automatic transmission in Touring and Elite trims. On lower trim levels, they still use the old 9-speed. And with this van, they actually use all 10 gears. You can't even select number 10 until you're cruising along at freeway speeds, and even then, it's still at the bottom of the tack. And that's a good thing. Thanks to wide gearing and cylinder deactivation technology, this Odyssey is rated at 28 miles to the gallon on the freeway. Considering the size, that's pretty good. Now, before we get into all the gee-whiz tech that's available in this rig, let's talk about how it drives. First and foremost, cruising on the freeway. It's quiet, it's comfortable. I have seat heaters and seat coolers. I can go into a sport shift mode or a standard shift mode. I can turn on eco if I really want to, but that really just retards the throttle. No reason to do that. I have a beautiful display up here. I actually really like this display. It's a high resolution, all digital display. And then over here we of course have entertainment, which is quite good, but we'll get to that later. Driving it, well, yes, it does have paddle shifters. Are you really gonna work those? Probably not, because it is a van and you still got a lot of heft to kind of move around. Whereas so many other vans kind of say, you know what, we're a family van, we're gonna take it easy, we're gonna be quiet and sedate and really softly sprung suspension. The Odyssey isn't like that. It actually has a great sounding motor. You can hear that. It's a nice windy. We're in full manual mode. By the way, if you go into sport and then you override with shifts, it goes into a full manual mode, which is kind of cool. I'm in 5th gear at 63 miles an hour, and the suspension on this car is surprisingly taut. You can feel what the road's doing. It doesn't drive like a huge vehicle. It drives like, well, like any other sporty Honda. That comes with a V6. And room for 7. Plus their luggage. Of course, this is a van. And it's not just selling to producers with a lead foot like myself. No, families actually buy these. And families want safety. So our Elite Edition arrived with a full suite of active safety features, like blind spot monitoring, Honda Collision Alert, and, if I may, a nearly autonomous cruise control mode. Let me demonstrate. I hold this button down to enable main. I then turn on cruise control into ACC mode, and then I hit set, and I'm doing 64, and I need to turn lane detection on. Now, let's see if I make sure it detects the lanes. Okay, lanes are detected. I can now take hands off, and it'll drive itself. It's handling throttle, brakes, and steering. Now, the fascinating thing about this is that the previous version of this system, as it appeared in various Honda vehicles, would only be semi-autonomous for 15 seconds at a time. This one I can deliver my entire monologue and it's still driving. In fact, it's braking because the car in front of us is slowing down. That's pretty amazing. I'm not touching gas, I'm not touching throttle, I'm not steering. It's doing it all, and it's doing it for a surprisingly long amount of time. Now, eventually, it will tell me to put my hands on the steering, like it's doing right now. So I can put my hands on the steering and go, oh, look, I'm driving. Then take my hands back off, and it's on its own. Of course, Honda does not recommend that you let the car drive itself all the time. That's not the point. It's really just designed to reduce fatigue on long road trips. Now, the adaptive cruise control is quite good, as you have seen. However, there are some systems that are better, that'll go all the way to start-stop and still keep you in cruise control. This one, well, it disables it at speeds under 20 miles per hour, so it's not really good for the daily commute. It's not designed for that. However, for state-to-state travel, sign me up. In a parking lot, you'll appreciate the rear backup camera along with rear cross-traffic alert, which is great for pulling a vehicle of this size out of mall parking spaces. Surprisingly, it doesn't have a surround view camera or even Honda's Lane Watch blind spot camera system, two features I've become quite fond of on other vehicles. In terms of space, vans are all about flexibility. The second row not only folds forward, the third seat acts as a cup holder when folded down, and if you completely remove it, you can even slide one of the seats to the middle for more lateral storage. Of course, if you want to take the time, you can also take out the second row seats. It's not nearly as cool as the Chrysler system that actually stows the seats in the car, but it at least gives you the space when you need it. In the back, the third row does fold down flush into the floor. This is also where you'll find the Honda vac, which is good for cleaning up messes that will certainly happen if you have kids. And speaking of kids, the Odyssey is a wonderland for children. The second row features a fold-down display that not only plays Blu-ray discs, it'll also stream video from PBS Kids and other sources, thanks to the Odyssey's built-in LTE data connection. Of course, that can also be used as a hotspot for up to 7 people and their mobile devices. Taking the mobile hotspot feature to the next level is Honda's latest infotainment system, and it really is quite spectacular. Not only is it easy to read, it also has extremely responsive multi-touch inputs. Then there's the features. It is simply loaded. Have trouble deciding what to listen to? Passengers can use mobile devices loaded with a special Honda app to send music to an in-car playlist. They also can do the same with navigation. If somebody wants to hit a Starbucks, they just add it to the list and the driver can decide to include it as a destination along the way or not. When the kids aren't listening or keeping their hands to themselves, you can enable the second row passenger camera to keep an eye on them from the driver's seat. You can even engage the intercom, which also overrides the headphones, to let them know that you're pulling over if they don't settle down. This would also be useful for certain members of the crew. The Honda Odyssey is a spectacular specimen of a van. It manages to entertain the kids on long road trips while at the same time entertaining the driver with great handling and a fantastic engine. Now, how does it compare to the offerings from Chrysler and Toyota? They are all extremely similar. Chrysler, I give kudos for their storable seats. Toyota, it has optional all-wheel drive. You just can't get that in the Honda. But the Honda, well, it's more fun to drive. So whatever kind of van owner you are, there is a van available and all of them are quite good. However, my choice would be the Honda Odyssey. And that is the 2018 Honda Odyssey. It is the van that you judge all other vans by because, frankly, it's pretty awesome. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. We'll see you later.